The National Assembly says it's considering a legal framework for the creation of state police and intelligence gathering on the activities of bandits, kidnappers and terrorists in the country. The Senate leader, Okpeyemi Bamidele, disclosed this when he spoke on behalf of all the recipients of honorary doctorate degrees at the Federal University, Ekiti State, on Saturday. In a statement released by the Directorate of Media and Public Affairs Office of the Senate leader, Bamidele revealed the resolve of the National Assembly to develop a legal framework and support local intelligence gathering to tame the tide of banditry, kidnapping and terrorism. Well, Arise analyst Dayo Sobowale joins us now to discuss the constant call for state police and rising insecurity and what kind of decentralized police structure Nigeria needs. Good afternoon, Mr. Sobowale. Welcome to Newsday.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure of being here.
It was a pleasure to have you. Now, what do you make of this disclosure by the Senate's leader about the National Assembly working on the legal framework for multi-level policing?
Well, it's a welcome development, but I quarrel with the venue at which he said it. He said it at a ceremony at which he was being honored with a doctorate degree. He didn't say it as a member of a working committee of the Senate on the matter. But then it's an issue worth considering and worth talking about. He is talking of decentralization of police command or decentralization of police operations. And I think it's something that we've discussed several times here. And I think it's long overdue. And it's something that is going to be dictated by need rather than our theorizing. It is abjectly clear now that law and order is breaking down because of the manner of policing we have. And we have to rejig our system if we are not going to allow it to dwindle totally into political instability. And of course, examples are bound that we can use. We do comparative policing and comparative news analysis on that. We are practicing a presidential system of government based on the one we imported from the United States at the time of the military. So we may need to look at what is happening in the United States. They have about the most decentralized police force in the world. You have the federal establishment. For law and order, you have FBI, you have Ministry, Department of Justice, and all that. That at state level. All the 50 states have their own police. You get the counties, like local government area, have their sheriffs. Even the big cities have their police forces. And aside from that, university campuses, bridges, institutions, infrastructures have their own form of police. We used to have something like that. I grew up in the Okera, it's a police compound. We used to have police, railway police in those days. But now it is the police doing everything, and they are abjectly outnumbered and totally outmaneuvered by the events on the ground. You know, the bandits, the terrorists, and all these people, invariably, they have better intelligence, better ammunition, better technology than the normal force. But then look at the challenges facing the police. It is a peculiar Nigeria challenge. There is a challenge of the private sector. There is the challenge of lack of will on the part of the federal government to delegate authority and decentralize. Let me look at those two issues today, at least. You see, you don't have any security outfits in Nigeria competing with the police. If you're a VIP now, you are traveling, you may go to the police, but invariably, look at the internet, look at the commercials. You will see security outfits saying that they can literally outgun or outperform the police. They advertise. And diplomats coming in, people, in fact, they advertise the security in the country more to outsiders so that they can get their services and not go to the normal police, which they say is inadequate, hasn't the capacity to protect them. So you have a competing private sector, you get me, competing against the police. And that is on the private sector area. In terms of our military hierarchy too, if you look at our military history, the military have always been wary of arming the police in such a way that when they say coups, they can protect the Democrats against them. So that is there. So I thought this Senate leader was making this call at the National Assembly until I read through this. What I would caution is that if we are making it in National Assembly, they should watch the composition of those in the committee so they are not ex-military people. Now we are in Agbada. Because I keep on stressing this, you have to live with it. I read a story about policing in Africa, in which they observed that they have military police in India, they have it in Brazil, of course we have mentioned the US, in Australia, and all that. They decentralize and just unify on some issues. But our own, it is just one line command. Something is suspicious there. So if they are debating in the Senate, they should watch the composition, because the idea is, the overall unspoken idea is not to have a police force that is armed and competent militarily to take on the military in case of a coup or a military uprising. But now that you have more military men in Agbada as our politicians now, I think coups will be difficult to get by. But the only antidote to that is to decentralize the police and to give us good governance. Let's leave it at that for now.
Right. Thank you for that very wholesome look at this topic. Now, when you look at his statement concerning multi-level policing, he made an appeal to mobilizing vigilantes, hunters, and able-bodied youth. I want to place a comparison with this against the picture you have painted, which is about just decentralizing the police force as it is. So we're talking about the men and women who are trained and uniformed and clothed to serve Nigeria's police force, organized police force, versus formal police force. Thank you, exactly. That's what I'm looking for. Versus empowering vigilantes, hunters, and able-bodied youth. Which of these strategies do you think is really the right road to take to get to where we want to go?
An amalgam of both. But you see, there's a reluctance to allow those communal sort of vigilante to thrive by the normal police. You get me? There's rivalry for power. The formal police sees itself as the institutional legitimate authority to secure anywhere. But then, they do not have the capacity. You don't need to do any investigation. The results show on the ground the high wave of banditry, kidnapping, and all that. And even that report that I said, I read about from overseas was very, very, very correct. It mentioned this, that populations try to protect themselves in the case of police absence or failure. But then, you see, invariably, they are taken as illegitimate. You get me? And extra legal. But then, you see, if you do not allow that, you create, if you do not allow that sort of policing, there will be a vacuum. Then, the bandits, the kidnappers, and all these people. Because, you see, the kidnappers are making themselves alternative government. Because if you are dealing with kidnappers, you are giving them jollof rice and soft drinks and so on, and give them money, and then you know where to take it to. You don't take it to space now. And the police accompany you there. They are legitimizing their terrorism on the rest of society. That's a breakdown of law and order. Government should arrest that. Government should arrest that. And encourage local policing. It is just simple common sense. I hate using the word pragmatic again, But you see, it is simple common sense to do what you can, what you have, to protect yourself and not lend yourself to foreign terrorists that have not secured the environment. That's where I am for now.
Mr. Sobowale, but there are some critics that are arguing that this risks increased politicization and abuse if adequate oversight is not in place. If you, bearing that in mind with all that you've wonderfully highlighted, how do you think that this could be prevented?
Okay, you have used 2 words now. I'm holding you to it. Politicization, okay. Right. If you say it is politicized, there's no duplicate for life. Once a guy is dead, he's dead. And if they kill a governor now, the governor is dead. If a bandit steps in and maintains law and order there, the bandit is the governor, albeit illegitimately and by force of arms. So there's no politics in that. You cannot politicize security. You cannot politicize security. It is not good for the president to politicize security. It is not good for the opposition or those against him to politicize security. And see, the politicization, if I go into it, it will be quite controversial. Everybody is agreed now. Even the government is admitting that there is crass insecurity in the land. Of course, the opposition is pointing that out to the detriment of government. So there's unanimity, not politicization of politics this time around. And we cannot afford to politicize it. What's the other word you used again?
Politicizing and abuse, if
abuse,
adequate oversight.
The fear of abuse has always been there. Fear of abuse is what is holding decentralization. That if they have police commands, the governors will become powerful enough to contest. But you see, the federalism, like you go back to that again, the state and government are federal. They are equal partners. They have their spheres of operation. That's why the states have the assembly to make their own laws, to suit their own area. Get me? Let's go back to America again now. See the abortion law that the Supreme Court stopped the other time. It gave powers to the state. It did not say that you should not have abortion, but that's how people have interpreted it. It's each state, in its own environment, you make laws suitable to what people want. That's why we have National Assembly. National Assemblies are to make laws. So 2 things now. You cannot politicize security. It's not in nobody's interest. You get me? And the states, we have 36 states, America has 50 states. Yeah. They cannot all make the same laws, the same way, on the same issues. Yeah. There are peculiarities. So let our federalism thrive. Let people have the guts to use their powers as they. So I should not use self-censorship to paralyze their legislature so that they do not make laws to protect their people.
Absolutely. Very well said, especially the part about making sure our federalism thrives. Mr. Dayo Sobowale, thank you so much for your insight on this topic.